Hi everyone, welcome back to the Potsmaker's Bible. My name is Zion. I'm the author of the Potsmaker's Bible, which contains the prophetic book of Zion, where I get my name and authority. It comes from the Ketuvim, or Old Testament of the Talmud, or Hebrew Bible. I use the King James Version of the Christian Bible to put together the prophecy of Israel from the scattered bits and testimony of the various prophets of the Old Testament. What I came up with was the book of Zion, a clear and concise detailed account of the year 2020. And in order to publish it, I had to write the Potsmaker's Bible as a commentary. And on 420 of the year 2020, I published peace by beginning these videos, which foretells the fate of the world through the prophecy of Israel by the Book of Zion and its commentary, the Potsmaker's Bible. Now today, I'm reading to you from the 21st chapter of the Potsmaker's Bible, which contains the 18th chapter of the Book of Zion. It's called the Sighing of the Prisoners, and I'm going to take up where I left off. It goes like this: God is a powerful innovator. When my people read this and know for the very first time that they really are as cool as they always knew that we were, things will change drastically. My people have no idea who or what they are. They don't know that we have a living alien God who tells us that we have the right to rise up, and that will galvanize us to do just that. The only reason we are still in chains is because we have, until now, never had a reason to believe in ourselves. We went along with the lies because we didn't know how to respond. We had no means to uphold our right to do what we do. So, without a valid defense, we just endured in silence. But that silence is deafening. It was also deadly. The longer we went along with the game, the harder our lives became. Because when we had no way to defend ourselves, the state just got greedier and greedier. Their claims against us more and more absurd and more broad. We, in our ignorance, had no way to end the war or to disprove the lies. Silence to society meant justification. However, the truth has always been available to the people of Zion. We only had to look to the Torah, to the Ketuvim, to find the answers to our prayers. God the Grey had created the means to free us, long centuries before we ever smoked our first joint. The prophecy has been around for 3,000 years. All we potheads had to do was read it a couple of times to realize its intent. The Grey not only execute righteousness, but they also judge for the oppressed. The Ketuvim, or Torah, Talmud, has been the inspiration of more than one uprising, from the fall of Israel in AD 66 to the Crusades, throughout today to the terrorist activities that we now endure. The righteous and the oppressed have always found inspiration in the words of the Grey. Which brings us to Ezekiel 9:39-25, which is Zion 18:7. Therefore, thus saith the Lord God, now will I bring again the captivity of Jacob, and have mercy upon the whole house of Israel, and will be jealous of my holy name. Ezekiel tells us that when the war on drugs became oppressive in the 1970s and beyond, this is the captivity of Jacob. I have already explained that Jacob refers to the Zionites, Israel to the blooded Jews. Ezekiel tells us that both houses are to be saved. Both Israel and Zion will be upheld by the God of Israel. At the time of the Grey's arrival, they will be very jealous of their holy name. The entire human population will be bound by the prophecy. No other God names will be allowed to exist, because those gods are either truly gray or false, like Jesus. The aliens chose to be the God of Israel, the Most High God of Israel. That is their only chosen designation. Gray, Israel's God. You see, all of the ancient gods were gray or affiliated with them. Our entire planet was home to the gray. Every human on Earth at that time had a named gray who ruled over them, not as gods, but as the elders of the planet. Humans knew the gray were more advanced and more civilized, so of course the gray ruled. But they were all gray, one race of gods. And no human of any religion has the right to contest this. The entire race of the gray decided in the Council of Elders that the name of Israel would be used to donate their godliness. All names of prior gods would be rejected. The new name for God is Ishi. The new name for God, only the name Ishi, is to be used for contact. He is the gray designated as first contactee. Ishi is my baby daddy. His name alone is authorized to signify the name for the gray as God. Jeremiah 12:7 becomes Zion 18:8. I have forsaken my house. I have left mine heritage. I have given my dearly beloved of my soul into the hands of her enemies. Jeremiah tells us that the gray would forsake the house of Israel. They would seemingly abandon their heritage, the pot, and that they would give the dearly beloved of their soul, Zion, into the hands of her enemies, i.e., I would have to go to prison, which of course I did. This forsaking of Israel in Zion was the plan. Lamentations 2:13 and 14 becomes Zion 18:9 and 10. What things shall I take to witness for thee? What things shall I liken to thee, O daughter of Zion? For thy breach is great, like the sea. Who can heal thee? The prophets have seen vain and foolish things for thee, and they have not discovered thy iniquity, to turn away thy captivity, but have seen for thee false burdens and causes of banishment. Lamentation goes on to explain the plight of Zion. Her breach is great. Who can heal you? I have already explained my lifelong struggle with rape and incest. The breach in my psyche was great. It took from age 17 to about 35 to begin the healing process. And even now, sex is a struggle. Without my husband, Messiah, my plight is to be raped and to have to endure it alone. He, the Messiah, was supposed to heal me. We are the same energy, I'm told. He was my childhood sweetheart, who waited for me to grow up before he dated me. He was supposed to heal me, but I had to get over it on my own, as much as I could. My Messiah was chosen because he and I are the same. We are soulmates. But he never came to heal me like he was supposed to. But that time has not yet arrived. And the next verse is about my struggle to overcome false religions. I was born into a Christian family, a Lutheran Christian family. So I grew up believing in Jesus Christ. I believed in both the Old and the New Testament. The first 5 or so times I read the Bible, I read it as a Christian. I had a hard time understanding the prophecy because I was expecting to find a Christian prophecy. I was afraid when I first realized that Christianity was a false religion. So, I did believe in the lies. That made it harder for me to realize who I am and what I am meant to do. Because of my false beliefs, I assumed that my captivity was justified. It wasn't until I renounced Christianity that I became aware of the truth in prophecy. That truth revealed to me my true identity. Then I became aware of the falsity of the war on drugs. I realized the truth that marijuana is a sacred terrapin, a tree of life that turns on latent DNA and leads to the return of aliens to Earth. The war on drugs isn't about drug use. It's about the emergence of a new form of humanity. Whether the government knew it or not, prohibiting the use of marijuana impeded human evolution. Lamentations 2:18 becomes Zion 18:11. Their heart cried unto the Lord, O wall of Zion, a wall of the daughter of Zion. Let tears run down like a river. Let not the apple of thy eyes cease. Lamentations 2:18. This verse tells of my years of crying. I cried not only for myself and my lost love, but I cried for everyone else who suffered. It's not just victims of rape. It's not just drug users. I cried for everyone who hurt. When I asked God to help me overcome my pain, I offered to help God end the pain of us all. I cried for the entire planet. My tears were not in vain. Micah 1:16 becomes Zion 18:12. Make thee bald and poll thee for thy delicate children, enlarged by baldness as the eagle, for they are gone into captivity from thee. Okay, Micah 1:16 talks about the newer fashion of being bald. To poll or tie up your hair. This fashion statement, again, is a timeline passage that tells us what the people of Zion look like. Our current fashion in hairstyle is to have bald spots and to tie up or braid the hair. These are the generation of the captivity, the fashions of my people. Psalms 140, 12 and 13 becomes Zion 18, 13 and 14. I know that the Lord will maintain the cause of the afflicted and the right of the poor. Surely the righteous shall give thanks unto thy name. The upright shall dwell in thy presence. Psalms 140, 12 and 13 is an assertion of David to my people. David, the true king of Israel, knew that his friends in the spaceships would always uphold the rights of the afflicted. He had first-hand experience of their ability to maintain the right of the poor. David was a fugitive like my people. He and his followers had to hide from the king Saul, who he was hunted down like we are, for no just cause, and the gray helped him, just as they help us. We stand in good company in our criminal state. King David was one of us too. King David knew that the righteous who knew God would always have reason to give thanks to the gray for aid given. I too know the pleasure of being aided in a righteous cause by a higher authority than man. We, who are the upright, will dwell in the presence of God. When we get high, we get God. We activate our telepathic genes and literally live in the same wavelength as they do. Therefore, living in the presence of the gray. Psalms 9:9 becomes Zion 18:15. The Lord also will be a refuge for the oppressed, a refuge in the times of trouble. This states that God is a refuge for the oppressed, a refuge in times of trouble. We are, as humans, have always sought God in times of trouble. It is literally human nature to call on God when we get into trouble. Even an atheist will pray to in a life or death situation. So it really shouldn't come as a surprise that a beaten down slip of a girl said a prayer in a time of stress. Everyone calls on God as a last resort or refuge in times of trouble. So may the gray watch over you, guide you, protect you, and keep you from all harm. May they teach you right from wrong, and may you be worthy of them. May your thoughts, words, and deeds reflect truth, good, and light, the unicorn way. Find your joy and pursue it, and make that your guild choice. Stay happy and high. If you use drugs, you have every right and reason to. Believe me, I know. I wrote the books. My name is Zion. I love you too much to ever say goodbye, so I'll say later now.